I think it's important to every year at this time, close to 9/11, that we review some of the events that occurred so that we do not forget. And I'd like to read. I read this last year. I'm going to read it again this year, just so we don't forget. Todd Beamer's call that he made. He was on Flight 93, United 93, when it crashed in Shanksville. And it's like I told the kids the other night, the band members at the Purple Heart celebration. You know, they weren't even alive at that time. But they need to know. They need to know and remember. But if you can just picture yourself in a metal tube flying through the air, knowing without a doubt you're going to die. Because on 93, they knew what had already happened ahead of them, that those other three planes had crashed. So they knew without a doubt that they were all going to die. And they were all making phone calls as they could to their loved ones. And this is Todd Beamer's phone call. On September 11, 2001, 19 terrorists boarded 4 different planes with the intent to hijack them and crash them into prominent American buildings. At 8:46 a.m., the North Tower in New York City was hit. At 9:03 a.m., the South Tower was hit. At 9:37 a.m., the Pentagon was hit. And incidentally, we heard at the ceremony the other night, we heard a man who had firsthand experience at the Pentagon crash. His stepmom worked in the Pentagon. And he was, I don't know, close by, I don't know, he was in Washington somewhere. And when he heard what was going to happen, he headed for the Pentagon and then realized that his mom wasn't there. His stepmom wasn't there. But anyway, that's just a side note.
Hey, Bruce, his story is in the Early Bird this week.
Yes, his story's in the Early Bird this week. So if you want to read it, it's very, very, very interesting. Very heartwarming. Who's talking?
I said it was very good.
Oh, yeah. Okay, to continue. The passengers on United 93 were aware of those crashes when their plane was overtaken by terrorists. It was thought that this plane was destined for the White House. Several of the passengers were determined to eliminate that possibility by attempting to overtake the terrorist or, if necessary, crashing the plane before it got to Washington, D.C. Before they acted, it was assumed that many made phone calls to their loved ones. At 10:03 a.m., United Flight 93 crashed in Shanksville, Pennsylvania. The following is an account of one of the passengers, Todd Beamer. Todd was unsuccessful in reaching his wife, but he was able to reach the GTE Airphone customer service lady, Lisa Jefferson. For 13 minutes, Beamer had spoken with Lisa at the Chicago Airphone call center. He explained to her that his plane had been hijacked, and assisted by a flight attendant sitting next to him, he provided details about the flight. He also talked about his pregnant wife and his 2 young sons. Being a devout Christian, he asked Lisa to recite with him the Lord's Prayer, and then they recited the 23rd Psalm. Before declaring his famous last words, Beamer said some of the passengers were going to try and seize control of the plane. At around 9:58, he put the phone down and was heard saying to someone else, "Are you ready? Okay, let's roll." Moments later, at 10:03, the plane crashed in Shanksville, killing all aboard. The first thing that was odd about this call is the simple fact that Beamer was able to talk to Lisa continuously for 13 minutes. In her 2002 book, his wife Lisa Beamer, revealed that Jefferson had informed her that it was nothing more than a miracle that Todd's call had not been disconnected. The reason, because of the enormous number of calls that day, and the GTE system was overloaded. But Todd's call stayed connected. A further oddity was Todd Beamer's remarkable calmness. Now, this is according to Lisa, the gal that he was talking to, was Todd's remarkable calmness despite the catastrophic situation he was in. Jefferson recalled, Todd, when he came to me, was calm, and he stayed calm through the entire conversation. If she didn't know what was going to happen, she would have thought this was a crank call, because Todd was so rational and methodical and about what he was doing. Just think about that. Put yourself in that plane. What would you have done? That's it. Now I'll do, if you want to start I think it's ready to go.
I'm supposed to be playing music, wasn't I?
Yeah, well, now, not, I thought that what I'm about to recite here is called the Farmer and the Lord. And because of our current weather conditions, I thought it was apropos that I repeat this. While resting the other evening by the side of the road, I saw an old farmer standing in a field he had sowed. His face was all brown and wrinkled from sun and the wind. And he was talking to the Lord, just like he'd be talking to a friend. Well, sir, he said with a voice calm and quiet, them corn tassels need a sacking, but I got no string to tie it. We ain't had no rain in so long that the fields are mighty dusty. And it's been so unbearable hot that even the kids are getting fussy. Now you take that grass down there in the pasture, Lord, why it should be knee high. If we could just have a little rain, Lord, might keep the cow from going dry. Oh, but listen to me talking. You think I wasn't grateful? If you didn't know me so well, Lord, you'd think I was downright hateful. You'd think I'd forgot about that new calf that you sent and that check that came in the mail, took care of the rent. Mama's cough is better. Johnny's home from the Navy. And that good Sunday dinner, Lord, of fried chicken, biscuits, and gravy. And that new preacher you sent us, Lord, why, he's sure a fine young man. Why, he's just been a converting them souls to beat the band. Well, I guess I'll mosey on home now, Lord. I won't take up no more of your time. I reckon there's plenty of folks here about waiting to ring your line. Evening to you, Lord. Watch over us tonight. Don't you worry none about us, Lord, because everything's going to be all right.